Welcome back to the Sports News Analysis YouTube page, where I'm always talking about the hot topics of the day in sports, previewing and predicting games. So be sure to subscribe to my page here and catch me on Twitter at SNewsAnalysis. That's at SNewsAnalysis. Thought I'd take some time tonight I should say, to discuss something I think that'll be talked about probably starting this week and in the coming weeks as far as the NFC playoff picture goes, and that is how the Week 3 Monday Night Football matchup between the Green Bay Packers and the Seattle Seahawks could very well have a very big impact on the NFC playoff picture. Who gets in, who's left out, as well as seeding. And, it was a game back in Week 3. We didn't know the impact it was going to have, but, much credit to the Seahawks, who have played very well the rest of the season and made this a real issue. And by making this video, I'm by no means calling out the Seahawks or expecting them or their fans to apologize. They took advantage of a bad call. And I don't knock them for that at all or begrudge them at all. This is more an indictment on the NFL and the fact that them dragging their feet with the referee lockout could lead to their sport and their product being affected here late in the season. And first of all, the impact it had on the two teams involved. First with the Packers. The Packers sit at 10-4 now, winners of the NFC North, by virtue of their win today versus Chicago. So they sit now firmly in the 3 seed at 10-4. Had that call gone the way it was supposed to, they would be on that 3-loss line there, tied right now with the 49ers, who are playing as we speak on Sunday Night Football against the Patriots. But most importantly, they'd only be a game out of home field throughout, which, the Falcons now have sort of a stranglehold on. So, that's the impact it has on the Packers. And as far as on the Seahawks, there's no bones about it. If you're a Seahawk fan, you can at least admit that it's helped your team greatly. They've taken care of business. They've scored 108 points in the last 2 games, so they're by no means backing into anything. But it has helped them. I don't think there's any denying that. First and foremost, they're a game clear of a bunch of teams tied at 8-6 now. They stayed at 9-5, and they are firmly in that first wild card position in the NFC, so it's helped them there. It's also helped them from the perspective that they are still very much alive in the NFC West race. San Francisco's playing tonight at 9-3-1. They have a game with Seattle, and San Francisco will face each other next week. And obviously we know now the Seahawks took care of business, so they're still in the mix for the division because of the results of that game. Who it could potentially really hurt are those cluster of teams, again, tied with a record of 8-6. All right, you have Minnesota at 8-6 because they won today. You have the Redskins at 8-6. They won today. The Cowboys at 8-6. They won today. The Bears lose at 8-6. And now the Giants also, by way of their thrashing at the hands of the Falcons, they're also now 8-6. You have all those 8-6 teams competing for one wild card spot and also the NFC East title. You put the Seahawks now at 6 losses with a game next week against the 49ers, and now all of those teams are at play for both wild cards, and the NFC East teams are at play for their division crown. So it just jumbles up everything. There's no real way around it. The way the NFL handled that lockout situation from the beginning, I don't think anyone was in favor of. And now by virtue of them trying to flex their muscles and getting the referees to do what they want, which we know didn't happen because this play in this game sort of forced the NFL's hand. And in the end, when their backs were against the wall, they did the right thing and got the competent refs back on the field. But at what cost? And we don't know that answer right now because we have to wait for these last 2 weeks to play out. But I think, again, in the coming weeks, you'll see a lot of this kind of talk circulating. And again, I hope it doesn't come down on the Seahawks, or their fans feel they need to justify everything because it's not their fault. I'm a fan of plenty of pretty bad teams, and I know if my team was finally having some success, I wouldn't want that parade rained on at all for something that they had no control over. I mean, is it their fault that there's incompetent refs on the field during an NFL game that obviously now is going to turn out probably to mean a lot? No, it's not their fault. And we'll see how this situation kind of goes going forward here. You can always catch me on here. I'll talk about some hot topics of the day in sports, as I said before, and check out my previews too. I preview pretty much every game here on a week in, week out basis. But thanks, and have a good night, guys.